behind you. Folks like you milk the system, and I won't pay for it.
Sir, I'm just buying this. That's all.
Yeah, right. Government handouts. I see it every day.
Keep talking, Dad. This is gold.
It's for one of my students' baby. The family's struggling. I'm covering it myself.
Sure.
I don't need your permission, sir. I just need...
A white man spits on a quiet black stranger inside a crowded grocery store, then shoves him hard and yells so everyone can hear. You people don't belong here. Back of the line, boy. The crowd watches. No one helps. The black man stays still, calm, almost too calm. But what the racist father and daughter don't know is this. That quiet man once commanded men who could level entire cities. That nobody has a direct line to the Secretary of Defense. And when his true identity comes out, the whole store will fall dead silent. And their lives will never be the same again. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our stories. And comment below where you're watching from. We love seeing our community around the world. Move. Now. Evan Brackmore's voice boomed across the front end of Miller's Market, a cramped old grocery store sitting off Highway 7 in Raventon, Arkansas. The kind of store that smelled like dust, fried chicken, and storm wind. He was a big man, 6'1", shoulders wide, belly pushing against a camo jacket. His beard was patchy, red, and stained with tobacco. His face was already inches from the quiet black man holding a small basket with just 2 items, baby formula and cough syrup. Evan jabbed a thick finger into the stranger's chest. Did I stutter? I said move. Folks like you know your place. His daughter, Carson Brackmore, 21 and hungry for chaos, lifted her phone and hit record. Get him, Daddy, she snickered. Show this dude why he shouldn't be in our town. The black man didn't raise his voice. He didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. He just stood there, tall, still, eyes calm. His name was Solomon Devon. And at that moment, he looked like nothing but a tired, quiet man trying to buy baby formula before the storm hit. Solomon Devon was 43. Broad-shouldered. Skin smooth but marked by small, faint scars. Scars people only got from places far from Arkansas. He wore cheap jeans, a faded gray hoodie, and old running shoes with the soles almost gone. Nothing about him looked special. Nothing screamed power. He looked like a man who worked long hours. A man who didn't talk much. A man who kept to himself. If anyone had cared to look closer, they'd notice the way he stood, balanced, feet set evenly, posture straight even under pressure. But no one noticed. No one ever noticed men like him. He had come for one reason. A student at a community center he volunteered at, little Eli Thompson, age 6, was sick with a bad cough. And his young mother had run out of formula. So Solomon, after a long day of quiet work, drove an aging beige Chevy pickup with a broken side mirror through the coming storm just to get 2 small items. But now he stood trapped in the middle of a white crowd that stared at him like a threat. Not because he did anything, but because of who he was. Or who they thought he was. Evan stepped closer, chest puffed, breath smelling like cheap whiskey. Let me teach you how things work around here, he growled. You see a white family with a cart? You step aside. You don't get in front. You sure as hell don't stand there like you equal. Carson laughed loudly for the camera. Look at him, Daddy. He's just standing there like a lost puppy. Probably can't even speak English right. Solomon breathed slowly. Not scared, just tired. Bone tired. A few bystanders watched. An elderly couple by the freezers, a teenage cashier frozen at the register, a man in a fishing hat pretending to check his phone. Nobody stepped in. Evan shoved Solomon's basket out of his hand. It hit the floor, formula rolling away. There, Evan said. Now you can pick it up like the dog you are. Carson got closer with her camera. Smile for TikTok, she whispered mockingly. My friends love watching people like you act tough. Solomon crouched to pick up the formula, slow and steady. Evan smirked. Yeah, on your knees. That's where you people belong. A murmur rippled through the store. Still, not a single person intervened. Solomon stood again holding the basket. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. He just said a quiet sentence. Sir, please step back. Evan exploded. Sir? He barked. No, you call me Mr. Brackmore. And you call my daughter ma'am. You talk proper, boy. Solomon's jaw tightened just barely. And Carson caught it. Oh, he's mad, she squealed. Daddy, look at his face. He's about to cry. Evan leaned even closer, voice near Solomon's ear. You ain't buying that formula. You ain't getting nothing from this store. I'll make sure security drags you out by your neck. His voice dropped into a hateful growl. You picked the wrong town to act like a man. Solomon let out a slow breath. The storm outside thundered. And then the twist began. Someone at the far end of the aisle shouted. "Sol? Is that you?" Heads turned. A tall man in a black raincoat jogged over, white, clean-cut, in his mid-30s. He looked like someone important. He looked like someone used to giving orders. And when he reached Solomon, he didn't just greet him. He stopped, straightened his posture, and gave Solomon a small, respectful nod. "Sir," the man said, "we've been trying to reach you. Command needs confirmation on your availability." Evan blinked. Carson lowered her phone an inch. Solomon looked at the man, Agent Dawson McKinley, Defense Intelligence Service. "I told you," Solomon said softly. "I'm retired." The agent shook his head. "Not from this, sir." Around them, the store fell completely quiet. Evan frowned. "Retired from what?" he snapped. Agent McKinley stepped forward. "From serving 2 decades as Colonel Solomon Devon, Senior Commander of the 9th Special Operations Group. The man who led counterterror missions across 5 continents. The man who saved more American lives than any soldier I've ever met." The silence was suffocating. A can of peas could have dropped and echoed like thunder. Evan's mouth opened, then closed. Carson lowered her phone fully now, hands shaking just a little. Agent McKinley looked Evan dead in the eye. "And you just assaulted him." The teenage cashier gasped. The elderly couple gasped harder. Evan stuttered. I didn't assault nobody." Agent McKinley raised a hand. "I have it all on camera. And so does your daughter." He gestured to Carson's phone. Her face turned pale. "Wait. I didn't. Daddy, what do we?" But the agent ignored her. He spoke to the room. "This store is now an active scene. Colonel Devon is a protected federal veteran. Any harassment, assault, or obstruction of him carries mandatory charges." Evan's knees almost buckled. "But he's just some guy." "No," the agent said coldly. "He's the man who outranks every law enforcement officer in this town. And the man you just disrespected in front of 30 witnesses." The shift in power was instant. Like a thunderbolt splitting the sky. The crowd changed before Solomon's eyes. Where there had been judgment, there was now awe, shame, respect. The teenage cashier whispered, "Sir, I'm so sorry." The elderly woman clasped her hands to her chest. "I had no idea. God bless you." Solomon simply nodded. He didn't smile. He didn't boast. He just picked up the baby formula and cough syrup with steady hands. Evan stumbled backward, voice trembling. "Colonel, I didn't mean nothing. I swear." Solomon looked at him at last. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Sir, no one should have to earn your respect just to be treated like a human." Evan's face crumpled in humiliation. Solomon turned toward the stormy exit, bag in hand. He paused at the automatic door, looked back once and said, "Power doesn't make a man better. How he treats the powerless does." Then he stepped into the rain. And the store stayed silent long after he was gone. The storm outside had grown wilder, thick rain slamming the parking lot like 1,000 hands beating on steel. Solomon Devon walked through it without rushing, the grocery bag hanging loosely from his fingers. Behind him, Miller's Market sat frozen in a stunned, guilty silence. Inside, the Brackmore's world had just collapsed. But the real fallout? It hadn't even begun. Inside the store, customers slowly broke out of their shock. Whispers spread like fire. "Did you hear what they did to him? That man's a colonel? A real colonel? Lord, and we all just stood here?" Carson Brackmore's hands shook around her phone. She hadn't stopped recording, but now her expression wasn't smug. It was terrified. "Daddy," she whispered, This is gonna go viral." Evan Brackmore slammed a trembling hand on the counter. "Delete the video," he snapped. "I can't," she cried. "It's already auto-backed up." Evan's face turned ghost white. The cashier swallowed hard. "Sir, you put your hands on a federal veteran." The old woman who had watched quietly in Chapter 1 stepped forward now, voice soft but cutting. "You didn't just disrespect a man, you disrespected all who served." She looked at Carson with disappointment deep in her wrinkled eyes. "And you cheered him on." Carson's lip quivered. "This ain't fair. We didn't know." He looked. "Like what?" the elderly woman pressed. Carson froze. Her mouth moved, but no words came out. Because the truth was ugly. And everyone in the store knew it. Solomon approached his old pickup truck, rain running off his hoodie. His hands were steady. His breathing calm. But inside he felt the old ache again, an ache older than the war zones, older than the medals, older than the missions no one would ever hear about. The ache of being judged by his skin before his soul. Even after all he'd done for his country. Even after all the blood he had seen. Even after holding dying soldiers in his arms, whispering courage into their last breaths. Even after saving lives that would never know his name. Still, to people like Evan, he was boy. He set the grocery bag in the passenger seat. Lightning cracked across the highway. He whispered to himself, "Breathe, soul. Just breathe." A car door slammed behind him. Agent Dawson McKinley jogged through the rain. "Sir." "Wait." Solomon leaned against the truck door, sighing. "Dawson, I told you I want no part of this. Not anymore." The agent stopped in front of him, rain dripping off his hair. "Sir, this isn't about missions. This is about justice." Solomon raised an eyebrow. "Justice doesn't come easy around here." "Doesn't matter," the agent replied. "You deserve it." Solomon didn't respond. So Agent McKinley continued. "We're filing charges. Assault, harassment of a federal veteran, intimidation, maybe even a hate crime." Solomon shook his head. "No. Let the law handle it. Don't push my name into the media." "But sir." "The uniform was never about fame," Solomon said quietly. "Let them face the law. Not my anger." McKinley looked at him with a mixture of admiration and frustration. "You're too forgiving, sir." "No," Solomon whispered. "I just know hate better than they ever will." A long silence hung between them. Then the agent nodded slowly. "I'll handle everything gently," he said. "We'll protect your privacy." Solomon gave a small nod of gratitude. "Thank you, Dawson." The agent straightened slightly the way soldiers do. Then he added, "Sir, the Secretary of Defense already heard about this." Solomon closed his eyes. Of course he had. "Tell him," Solomon said softly, "I'm okay. And I'm still retired." The agent smiled sadly. "You always say that." "I always mean it." And with that, Solomon got in his truck. But what neither man knew was that the video was already spreading across Raventon like wildfire. Inside Miller's Market, while Evan argued with store management and demanded the cameras be turned over to him, Carson's recording quietly synced to her cloud. Within minutes, someone she had blocked long ago, her old roommate who hated her attitude, saw it pop up on a shared folder they forgot to disconnect. And she posted it. With the caption, "This is Raventon. This is what black heroes live with." It spread. Fast. Within 30 minutes, phones buzzed across town. Teachers, students, gas station clerks, church pastors, coaches, even the mayor. People who had known Solomon for years were stunned. "Is that Mr. Devon? From the community center? He saved my cousin in Afghanistan. That man taught my son self-defense. He bought groceries for my family last winter. Oh God, people treated him like that?" Everywhere Solomon had quietly helped, every kindness he never bragged about, was now coming to light. The town realized something horrifying. They had humiliated a hero. A real one. And he never even defended himself. The storm passed, but by morning the town was roaring. Evan stepped outside and saw reporters on the street. His neighbors avoiding eye contact. His business, Brackmore Outdoor Supply, had one-star reviews piling up by the minute. Racist trash. Assaulted a soldier. Shut it down. Carson's college classmates flooded her DMs. "You're disgusting. How could you cheer him on? We're sending your video to the dean." Brand deal she bragged about? Gone. Her softball coach? Suspended her. And worst of all, the sheriff pulled into their driveway. "Evan Brackmore," he said. "We need you down at the station. Bring your daughter." "Is this about that video?" Evan snapped. The sheriff, a white man with tired eyes, sighed. "Evan, I've known you 20 years. But what you did, it's wrong. It's illegal. And it's embarrassing this whole town." Then he added, voice low. "And if Colonel Devon wasn't the man he is, you'd be wearing cuffs right now." Evan's rage collapsed into fear. Carson burst into tears. "Daddy, everyone hates us." He had no answer. Because a lifetime of hate had finally come back home. "And if Colonel Devon wasn't the man he is, you'd be wearing cuffs right now." 3 days later, Solomon walked into the Raventon Community Center, carrying a fresh pack of baby formula for little Eli. The kids ran to him instantly. "Mr. Soul, you're famous. My mom said you're a hero. Is it true you were like a real soldier?" Solomon laughed softly. "Something like that." The room filled with warmth. With innocence. With the kind of love that didn't care about color or titles. Miss Harper, the director of the center, approached him with tears in her eyes. We saw the video, she said quietly. You didn't deserve any of that. Solomon shook his head. No one does. She squeezed his arm. You should speak at the town hall meeting tonight. Solomon hesitated. I'm no speaker. You don't need fancy words, she said. Just tell the truth. Let them see who you are. Solomon looked around the room. These were the people who mattered. And maybe the town needed a reminder. Not of his rank. Not of his medals. But of his humanity. That evening the community center overflowed. People stood shoulder to shoulder. Some held signs. We stand with Solomon. Justice for Devon. Racism ends here. Even Evan and Carson were there, standing off to the side, pale, shaken, humbled beyond recognition. When Solomon stepped up to the podium, the room fell dead silent. He didn't clear his throat. He didn't adjust the microphone. He didn't rehearse. He just spoke. Soft, slow, human. I didn't come here to punish anyone, he began. I came to tell you a truth. The room leaned in. In war I saw men fight for each other. Black, white, brown, didn't matter. We cared about hearts, not skin. He looked toward Evan and Carson. But back home, sometimes the battlefield follows you. The audience swallowed their guilt. I'm not angry, Solomon continued. Just tired. Tired of proving I'm human before I'm respected. Tired of earning rights others get freely. He stepped back from the mic, voice sinking to a whisper. All I want is a world where my kids and your kids don't inherit this pain. A tear rolled down an elderly woman's cheek. A man in a work uniform nodded slowly with closed eyes. Carson began sobbing into her sleeve. And Evan? He lowered his head. For the first time in his life he looked small. When Solomon finished, the room stayed silent for a long, long moment. Then, from the back, a single voice said softly, Thank you, Colonel. Another joined. Then another. Until the entire room rose to its feet. A standing ovation that felt like an apology. A promise. A beginning. Solomon didn't smile. He just bowed his head. And whispered, Let's be better. As the crowd slowly dispersed, a teenage boy approached Solomon shyly. Sir, he asked, how did you stay calm when they treated you like that? Solomon placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Son, a storm only wins when you let it inside. That was it. One simple line. But the boy nodded slowly, understanding far beyond his years. And the camera of a local reporter caught that moment. A hero teaching peace to a new generation. If you want more powerful, emotional stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now. And tell me in the comments, do you think the Brackmores deserved forgiveness or justice? I'm ready for your next story request.